Welcome to the show. I'm Charlie Simons, your host here on Do Not Talk, where we talk about two things you're never supposed to talk about: religion and politics. That's why it's called Do Not Talk. Wait a minute. I got to use my $99 fancy little reverb machine. Do not talk. $99 for that, just so I can do that. What do you want? It's free. Hey, you want to support the show? You want me see me get some fancier and better equipment? So do I. You can help the show by buying American-made products from a true American patriot, Mike Lindell. MyPillow.com/LEE. MyPillow.com/Lee. My middle name of Lee can get you up to 75% off American-made products. MyPillow.com/Lee. Please go there. Please support Mike Lindell, who had all of his products pulled off all the big major corporate box stores. Why? Because he's dared to question the election, and he's got proof, and it's now been heard by the Supreme Court. He was able to get it all the way there. What's going to come of it? I don't know. But we can't be having this happen again and again and again. Well, good heavens. Biden has quit. Well, he hasn't quit. He should quit. He shouldn't be running this nation. He should have never been running this nation. Now it's Kamala, but yet her own Democrat Party is not endorsing her to be the candidate to run for president at this late in the game. Biden has said, I work so hard. I'm a hero. Just ask me. I'm a hero. He's not going to run for president. He announced that over the weekend in a tweet. So sad. So it's Kamala, President Kamala. But he's not stepping down as president, which he should have done. What a wreck. What a train wreck. Hey, I got an idea for you. Why don't you vote Republican? I don't know. Just saying. That might be an answer to actually get us do a little major course correction. Let's start at the top. Let's start with president. My president, Donald Trump, part of his ear shot off on July 13th. Man, I'll tell you what. That guy has put it all on the line. President Trump. And he is going to be our nominee for Republican. Now, what about my party, the Republican Party in my state of California? What the heck is wrong with the California Republican Party? I know some people who do have some great ideas about what's wrong, and they've gotten real vocal about letting everyone know exactly what's wrong with the Republican Party in California and why we have just been sitting back and letting this state plummet off a cliff. Just recently, Governor Hairdo said that California has more Fortune 500 companies than any other state in the nation. He's bragging about that. Of course, he had to release that data real quick, though, because now Elon Musk has announced that he's leaving California, pulling out Twitter, X-Twit, and his space exploration company, too. SpaceX, out. Going to Texas. So Governor Hairdo had to release that real quick while he could still say that. That's hilarious. So I got John Paul White on the show, and he is the Associate Delegate Chair of the California Republican Party, and quite vocal about what is wrong with the party. And also my friend Rudy Rosselli, running for Congress in Northern California against that slug John Garamendi. I pray that the Bay Area wakes up and elects Rudy Rosselli. And SoCal Mitch Clemens, also going to be on the show today. We're going to do a whole panel thing, and we're just talking about California Republican politics. So if that's not interesting to you because you don't live in California or you don't really care, trust me when I say as California goes, so goes the rest of the nation. Trust me on that. So the Republican Conservative Coalition just recently released this video, and I want you to watch it. And then I'm going to get their thoughts on it on today's Do Not Talk. Check this out.
How the California Republican Party works, or rather, how it does not work. The California Republican Party is governed by a group of Republicans who are delegates to the California GOP. There are two major types of delegates, regular and appointed. Regular ones are declared by the California Republican Party in their bylaws. Appointed delegates are appointed either by regular delegates or by county chairmen. The two types of appointed delegates are by the candidates and by the county chairs. This group of delegates elects the state party officers, including the chair. The chairperson is the most important position in the state party. The chairperson gets to appoint the members of several subcommittees. The four major committees are the Rules Committee, the Proxies and Credentials Committee, the Resolutions Committee, and the Initiatives Committee. What is important to understand is that each delegate is supposed to come to the convention and vote on all the issues of the state party. They elect the chairperson. The chairperson appoints the committee members. The Rules Committee is the most important. The chairperson is part of a bigger group made up of consultants, party loyalists, and insiders. The chairperson populates a committee with these people. This group controls the committees, and for years has been controlled by one person. In years past, it was Charles Munger Jr. This person gets the whole mechanism to vote for the chair. The chair then populates the committees with people who support this establishment machine. This is how they keep control over the whole California Republican Party. It prevents any grassroots candidates or any motivated traditionalist folks from having any say. Conservative rhetoric or any new forward-thinking ideas are often squashed, and it keeps the party locked up in a non-functioning state. How does this happen? Well, there is a rule that states that when the delegates cannot attend the convention, they vote by proxy. This group ballot harvests the proxy votes and controls everything that happens. The only way that we can ever break this apart would be to change the proxy rule, which change never leaves the Rules Committee and leads to a floor fight on Sunday afternoon. The proxy rule allows each delegate and each associate delegate to carry two proxy votes in to vote on Sunday. The chairperson is now telling these folks how to vote, and it creates a huge problem. For example, at a past convention, there were more proxy votes than delegates. They continue to control everything that happens, and the folks down at the bottom, the grassroots people, end up having no say whatsoever. They have harvested these proxies. Some are from delegates who are not even aware of what is happening. As such, we cannot change the proxy rule and cannot change the proxy votes. The delegates have to come vote by themselves or have a proxy. This ensures absolute control from the top, and the party is controlled this way. We need to control the delegates. We can get that control from the candidates and from the county chairs. The day that we have enough delegate votes in place, we can replace the chair. Once that happens, our chair populates the Rules Committee, which then allows the proxy rule to be changed. Proxy rules then become less of a problem, and we have honest votes taking control of the party. If you have ever wondered why you get no support from the party, this is the reason. The next time we have a chair election in the spring of 2025, we need to elect our own chair and not allow the machine to resume control as it has for so long now. Once again, when we populate the Rules Committee, we change the proxy rule. Proxies then become less important. We get one-to-one voting from the delegates, and suddenly the party is changed overnight and taking place 6 months after.
Did that make any sense to you? I hope it did, because it explains everything brilliantly as to why we have the problems that we're having right now in the Republican Party in California. And to help explain it more effectively, my guests, Rudy Rosselli, Mitch Clemens, and John Paul White on Do Not Talk. Hit it!
Yep, here he comes. Riding his trusted steed through the Sierra foothills as he brings you the news. He calls himself
Charlie.
What you doing, Charlie?
Sorry, Charlie.
Hi, Charlie. There you are. Look how cute you are. Yeah.
Hey, Charlie. What's with the dark glasses?
And now, here he is, a man of God, living in a world of Disney.
Ow, Charlie.
Charlie Simons.
Charlie bit me.
Brought to you by my friends at Mike Lindell's MyPillow.com/Lee. My middle name, Lee, can get you up to 75% off MyPillow products right now. Made in the United States of America, all online store. Because the big box stores pulled his products off the shelves. Screw them. Walmart was the last big one. Screw you, Walmart. Done with you. I don't go to you anymore. I don't give you a dime anymore. MyPillow.com/Lee. MyPillow.com/Lee. All right, let's get him in now. Here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, for your dining and dancing pleasure, he's been on the show many times before. U.S. Army Major retired Rudy Rosselli. What's up, buddy boy?
Hey, I'm here. How you doing? It's good to see you again.
I'm borderline amazing. Thank you for asking. SoCal Mitch, ladies and gentlemen, here he is. He's going on tour to get the word out about the associate delegates and how we can start repairing this Republican Party. And we got to take out the poison at the top before we can do anything else. Hello, Mitch.
That's right. Hi, how you guys doing today? Thanks for having me on.
Thanks for being had. And ladies and gentlemen, the man who's really spearheading the whole thing and the reason why this show is happening today, it's John Paul White on location at an undisclosed location. I'm not seeing you, brother, but I'm just going to count that you can see us. Can you hear us? Can you hear us? He froze up right then. This show was now he's gone. This show was supposed to start an hour ago, and we've been working on. He's on location. Let's just say that. So let's talk about, and hopefully he'll be able to join us again, and I'll bring him in when he does. But Rudy, I wanted him on, Mitch, because he's in Northern California and he's been in the fight for a while, running for Congress against a juggernaut of Democrat-controlled seats in the entire NorCal and Southern California. They run this state. The Democrats run the state. And so I wanted to bring him into the mix because he represents NorCal like I do. You're SoCal, Mitch. How do we come together? Where do we start? What do we do?
Well, I think the most important thing we have right now, obviously, is to elect our president and get him in office, because it all, like in the Republican Party in California, it all starts at the top. And so we want to make sure that we have the right person at the top. And, I think one of the biggest things we can do to help bring those things together in California is to actually reach out to the voters. And that's one of the things that John Paul White's doing with this associate delegate program. He's reaching the voters in the Republican Party to help them understand what's going on. And I think I'm privileged to be on that journey with him. So it's been fun so far.
I've said this many times before, and I don't think any of it's changed until we're able to wrest back control from the infiltration of the left that I've seen. I've attended the last 3 California state Republican conventions, thanks to this man, Rudy Rosselli, right here, because he is running for office and made me one of his delegates. So because of that, I've taken it seriously that I have to be there in person to vote. But Rudy, you took photos last time. You posted it on your page, as a matter of fact, and look him up, Recile, Rosselli, Rudy Rosselli, on Facebook and all the social media. You posted photos of people with like handfuls of these little electronic voting things, voting for people.
Yeah, I actually did. It's pretty amazing how many proxy votes that there are, and how many people actually to take them and actually do the voting. The crazy part about it is that in my county, we had approximately like 6 delegate seats, and those seats were not filled because people couldn't attend. But there were still 6 people from our county that were sitting in those seats, and they got their votes because somebody arranged for them to get their votes from a different county. So another county gave those votes to these 6 people who I know don't see things the same way that we do. and they were voting the way that the chairperson wanted them to vote.
And that irritates the hell out of me when Jessica Patterson, the chair of the California GOP, says, and the chair recommends this vote. And last convention, I was the guy that you heard say out loud, "We don't care.
Yeah.
We don't care what your recommendation is."
You know,
What
it's my
that's a
understanding
dog
there's
whistle right there. That's a dog whistle, isn't it? To you people, by the way, this is how we want you to vote, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, it's my understanding that there's more proxy votes than actual delegates present to vote at this last convention, which is amazing to me. We can't get people to show up to vote in our regular elections. And then within the Republican Party, which is supposed to be the party that is for election integrity, for securing our vote, for conservative principles and getting things in place to fix what's broken, within our own party, we have electronic voting, wireless, easily hackable electronic voting devices, and we're voting electronically. And we're using proxy voting, which is the same as having in the regular voting, what we have in the United States, we have all this ballot harvesting. That's what proxy voting is within the Republican Party of California. It blows my mind.
Why is that even allowed? Has that always been allowed?
You know, I don't know how long it's been allowed. I'm new.
Before they did the electronic thing, Rudy, how did you all vote in those kind of scenarios? And it's always on a Sunday, the last day of the convention, and we have all the proposed rule changes and so on that people have presented, and we all vote on whether it's a yay or nay. And we all get a few minutes to get up there. Not all of us, but some of us get up there and speak either for it or against it. And then I'll tell you right up front, this last convention in San Francisco. Every single thing I voted yes on did not pass. Everything I voted no on did pass. And I'm looking around at the people all around me. They're quite vocal about this is a bad idea. Don't do this. But yet it passes anyway. It's got to be all those people with those electronic votes. Did they used to do it by paper, Rudy? Do you know?
As far as I know, I mean, technology has always been the bane of our existence. Every time a new piece of technology comes up, it's that thing that is controlling the way things happen. I mean, you went from the quill pen to a regular ballpoint pen, and then as technology comes along, it becomes a real challenge. The thing that scares me is, when are they going to start introducing AI into this whole thing? Because people don't like doing anything physical. So next thing you know, they're just going to be saying, "Hey, Alexa, what was the result of the vote?" And it's going to go that direction. So
these kids today with their ballpoint pens, whatever it takes, I would just want to get back to the basics and stop jacking with stuff. And I saw the same thing, Rudy. I saw all these people carrying all these little proxy votes, and I have heard from many people at the convention that people are getting paid to turn their little proxy vote over to whomever is paying them. Is that true? Have you heard that?
I have heard of it, and I have heard that I've heard from some people that it's happened. I haven't been able to verify it, and that's one of the reasons why I asked you to be a delegate, because I knew that you could not be bought, and that in the event that it actually happened, you would be willing to call names, state names, because every time that I go into a committee meeting and they mention this exact thing, people say, "Well, where's the proof?" And a few times that when I was in a committee meeting, a person brought it up, and they're like, "Well, where is the proof?" And he's like, "Well, I'd like to tell you, but I'd like to do it in closed session with just the board." I'm like, "Why are you hiding it? Why not just call names? Why not just speak out and say, 'Hey, this is what's going on'?" Because if he actually did that, then maybe people will start getting more honest about what's happening with their votes.
Mitch, you and John Paul are really promoting. I think it's a great idea. You're promoting this whole. Every delegate, I guess, has a certain amount of associates that they can assign with them if they're like-minded. You do the vetting, and what I see that doing is building a base of people who actually aligned with the party ideals.
Actually,
Um,
Charlie, let me correct you that right there. A delegate can appoint other delegates. They have a set number of
Associate
delegates. Yeah. So
unlimited.
Unlimited.
So
No, no,
we're
no,
talking
no,
about
no,
two,
no.
we're talking about two different things here.
Exactly. That's
Charlie's
what I'm trying
talking
to
about
say.
the associate delegates.
It's
which
correct.
I'm an ex officio. I'm a delegate. I can appoint unlimited associate delegates.
That's true.
But I get to appoint 5 voting delegates to the party.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. So there's
So it's
two
the-
different things we're talking about here.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
But the bottom line is we're building a base. We're building people underneath us as delegates
Yeah.
who will take our place
So-
if we can't be there. So
Yeah,
that vote does not go to waste.
I can break that down a little bit.
Good.
What John Paul White did by getting elected to this position, I've been friends with John Paul for a while. I did not realize the genius of him getting elected to this position until probably a couple months after. And I thought, well, what good are the associate delegates? They don't get a vote in the party. Why would John want to be the associate delegate representative for a bunch of associate delegates that can't even make a difference? And when I was at convention and trying to get people up to get in your show, Charlie, and to get involved, that's the question I got the most often. And it was good because I had realized the answer to that a few months prior, so I was able to answer people. And the answer is this, is what we're doing is we are bringing in the grassroots conservatives, the Christians, the base of the party, the activists at the ground level. And what we're doing is we're bringing them into the party now. Before, what we have is we have all these disparate groups. We got the CRAs and the Women's
Federated.
Republican Federated and the bigger groups. And then we have all these individual groups. And one of the things I realized early on when I got involved was because we're conservatives and we're independent thinkers and we're not groupthink like the left, we all have our own ideas, and that's a strength. But when we are trying to coalesce, it becomes a detriment because we're all arguing with each other about details. The genius of what John Paul White is doing is he's giving us the opportunity to bring in the grassroots statewide into the party at the base level. Sure, they don't have a vote, but they have all the other responsibilities and opportunities that the rest of the party delegates have, except for voting. And we bring them in, and now we have an opportunity to train them, to get them ready, so that later on in the future, when there's a central committee spot that opens. So I'm not just talking about the state party. I'm talking about the county parties as well. Now we have these people that are in the system, part of the party, under the party umbrella. So we're bringing together all these disparate groups. We're bringing them all together under the party umbrella. All of the grassroots conservative Christians, like you guys, like me, like John, we're bringing them into the party now, officially, training them up, and we're going to get them ready to the point where they can actually fill those positions in the future, in the central committees, in their local communities where they're doing maybe door-to-door knocking or doing precinct work, or at the California GOP level, where we can assign them, we can get them appointed to the actual voting delegate spots. And one of the major things we need, and you alluded to this earlier when you were talking about the delegates don't show up and we have all these proxies. And one of the things they do is the establishment gets all these proxies together and they're able to vote them any way they want. So you end up with these. So you're wondering how they pay for them, how they buy these votes. Well, I'll tell you a simple way. They get the college Republicans and people like Sean Steele and others in the party that are big names and have the ability to do so will, and I'm not going to disparage any of these people, Sean Steele or any of them. I have my opinions. That doesn't belong in this conversation, I don't think, but they get to assign these delegates that they have, Michelle Steele has, and then what they do is they pay the college Republicans, they pay their fee to go to they pay their way to the convention. Once they've paid their way to the convention, then they give them these delegate votes that they've accumulated, these proxies, and they give them to these college Republicans. So if you think about it, it's pretty simple. These college Republicans are really excited. They're getting involved. They're going to make a difference for California. They probably have the right heart and the right attitude. But they're being co-opted by the party leadership that's saying, here, we'll give you we're going to pay your way to convention, and in return, you're going to vote the way we want, and here these proxy votes are. And so that's what we're doing, is we're trying to get the grassroots involved to fill those positions. So when those positions become available, what we have is delegates that don't give their proxies away, but that show up at convention and vote in person, which is what we need in our elections in the United States, in California, and in the Republican Party. We need people to show up in person and vote in person.
But the key to all of this, Charlie, is really the chairpersons.
Yes.
The chairpersons are the biggest linchpin in this whole thing. I can designate up to 2 voting delegates, just 2. Now that chairperson is the one who controls a majority of the delegate vote in their county. So we've got 47 counties. There are a total of 58 counties, but not every county's got a central committee. So we've got approximately 47 counties out there that the chairperson is the one who designates who those delegates are. And if we don't get those chair people in line so that way they control where those delegate votes go, if they're not controlling those delegate votes, then we're in a world of hurt, because it doesn't make a difference. I mean, the candidates can make a difference because of where they align up their counties with their counties. But it's those chair people that really make the big difference.
And I have said it before, and I'll continue saying it until she's out of office, which I guess she's termed out, thank God, but she's still doing all the damage she can in the meantime. Jessica Patterson is a train wreck. And I was there when she was up for re-election, and I'll be darned if she didn't win re-election. And I was stunned. That was my very first convention, and I recognized right out of the gate, this woman's a problem. She's a serious problem. Anybody who opposes, she's gaveling them out, turning off their microphones.
Right.
I'm like, that's what Democrats do. This
Yeah.
is insane. And anytime God comes up or Christianity, it's like she physically recoils from it. It's the strangest thing. So what do you all say to, you realize, according to stats, a third of the population of California claims to be Christian, but only about 40% of them are even registered to vote. And when it comes to showing up, especially for primary elections, it's dismal. It's in the teens. This is unacceptable. And my own fellow Christians, I hear them saying things like, well, politics and religion, that doesn't, it's in the Constitution, separation of church and state. Well, first of all, stop saying that, because that's not true. It's not even close to true. That's not what that was all about. That was about the state cannot dictate a religion for all of us, like the Church of England, which is what our pilgrims who started this whole thing here in the United States of America were escaping from.
Yeah, if
At life and limb.
Yeah,
They put themselves in great peril to be here to start. No, that's not in the Constitution, so stop saying that. And only 40% registered to vote? How do we win anything when our own Republican Party seems to recoil at the introduction of faith being part of our platform?
We've been telling, the churches have been telling the congregants for a long time that we have to have these things separate. And unfortunately, it's infiltrated the American Christian church. And I'm on board with you 100%, Charlie. We need the believers to be salt and light in this hurting world. And that's what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to be involved. We're supposed to be not just voting. We're supposed to be out there. And, we talk about ministry in the church, and it's children's ministry, and it's parking ministry, and it's the coffee shop ministry, and it's women's ministry, and it's all these ministries that are under the house of the roof of the church. And it reminds me of when Jesus said, you don't put a lamp under a bucket.
Right.
And that's what we're doing. We put this lamp under a bucket. And instead, what the believers need to be doing is engaging. And honestly, I think that's what all of this is about. This is about God's people choosing him instead of everything else. God is right now, if you want to know the reason why we're in the situation we're in, it's not because of Nancy Pelosi. It's not because of Joe Biden. It's not because of Newsom. It's not because of any of these ridiculous, God-hating fools we have. The reason why we're in the situation we're in, and I think you've said it before, Charlie, too. I don't know if you have, but it's our fault.
It is.
It's the church's fault for not being salt and light in this hurting world. And the result of that, of us pulling back and hiding under the church building with our own little ministries and our own little things, instead of ministering to this hurting world, this is what's caused this entire problem.
I have friends who are Republicans up here in Central Committee in my area who have tried to set up what pastors will agree to it, and most of them won't. But they'll set up a table outside of the church to register people to vote while they're there. And they've had obscenities flung at them. They've had very hostile people come up, and I'm like, these are wolves in sheep's clothing, screaming at them for, you're bringing a separation of church and state. They keep saying that stuff. You're not even supposed to get registered to vote at a church in these people's minds. How do you combat against that, Rudy?
Well, there's down here in Solano County, what we're working on down here is a God and government class, and it's being done at a few of the churches here in the area, and it's gaining in popularity. And I believe that what we really need to do is educate more than anything else. We need to get the pastors to be educated. And Mitch mentioned the Salt and Light, and there is a Salt and Light Council.
I love them.
Right. And on Tuesdays, they have an association of pastors meeting, just a general phone call that pastors can get in and listen to what's being done. Now, if pastors really understood what's going on and how they should guide their flocks, I mean, just look in 2 Timothy. It states in 2 Timothy 2 that you're supposed to pray for your leaders. You're supposed to pray for those people that are in charge. I mean, we should still pray for, President Biden, that he does the right thing, or at least convict his heart so that he does the right thing, and so that our people whom we voted for in our representative democracy, our constitutional republic, our presidential constitutional republic, and our representative democracy, that they do the right things also. We need to make sure that they understand that. And a lot of these pastors don't understand that. They look at that whole letter from Thomas Jefferson saying, to the Connecticut party that, we need to have a separation of church and state. And that's the only place it's ever been mentioned. And the media and a lot of unknowing people bastardize that on a regular basis. And they don't understand that the morality in which our framers got their ideas comes from a belief in a higher power. And I believe that you need to believe in three things. If you're going to make this country happen, you need to have faith, family, and freedom. And that faith starts with believing in a higher power, whichever that higher power is. And you have to understand that he or she or whatever is the one that guides your personal individual morality. And that's what makes a difference, is that you have to be able to have that. And unless if you're believing in that higher power, because that's what's going to guide you to family, to take care of family, and then that's going to make you want to make sure your family is free. So faith, family, and freedom is the most important thing, is that you have to have those three things. And
God, family, country.
Right. And we need to be able to talk to our pastors. We need to have classes like God and government within our churches, within a ministries. We need make that a ministry within the church itself so that we can explain to them and show the people, hey, these are the things that are going on. Because if you're not involved locally, and people always ask me, so how do I get involved locally? There's just so many things that I get, that are going on out there, and how do you keep up with all this? And I say to them, look, pay attention to one thing. If the one thing that you're worried about is making sure that the flags flown on city property, county property, are the three government flags: United States flag, state flag, and your city or county flag, then concentrate on just that. Don't worry about anything else. You don't have to worry about the water, electricity, or anything, because those things you don't worry about. But if that concerns you, then pay attention to that. If making sure that our children are presented the right books, then go to the city, to the school board meetings, and pay attention to that. Whenever it gets brought up, speak on that. But bottom line up front is that it's all starts with faith. It starts with our churches. It starts with or synagogues or temples, whatever you may go to. That's where it starts. And if you don't have that faith in that higher power, and if you don't then take that morality that you generate from that higher power, you're not going to worry about what's going on with your government.
Do you believe this is a Christian nation, Rudy?
I believe that our country has many, many Christians in it. And that's what we have. We have Christians in our nation, and that's what our framers started out as, and that's what they believed in, and that's the higher power that they believed in, and that's why we have the First Amendment that says we have a freedom of religion, a freedom to practice the religion that we bring over. I mean, because
Yeah.
not all of the people that came here, that originally came here, believed in the same way. That's why they left the Church of England. That's why they left England, because of the different ways that they wanted to be a Christian, the way they wanted to worship. And that's why it's in the First Amendment.
I believe we are a Christian nation. I think Obama said a horrible thing when he said that we are not. That's what we were founded on. Yes, you're welcome to worship any way you want while you're here, but this nation was founded on Christian principles out of the Bible, Judeo-Christian principles, and
Yes.
it's in our founding fathers' documents. For heaven's sake, the Father God is throughout. They reference him as the creator in many places, and a lot of that is because the early church realized, unlike us now, that we're not even supposed to name the Father. I mean, he does not have a name. The whole YHWH in the beginning, were just those four letters, and then we did the English translation to Yahweh, but we're not even supposed to name him. So that's why I believe so much of what they wrote was about the Creator and about the Father. But Mitch, what do you think about that? Are we a Christian nation?
I think, as you said, we are founded on Christian and biblical principles. And the successes we've had because of our Constitution being written under those principles have been astounding. At the same time, we got to be really careful when we say those kinds of things, because Germany at the time Hitler rose to power was 98% they considered themselves Christian. And so as we call ourselves a Christian nation, it matters what we're talking about. And I think that's important. So what makes us a Christian nation? It makes us a Christian nation that we're founded on biblical principles. And those are the things we got to get back to if we want to make sure we're staying on target. Not just terminology.
Those are
but
both good
actually
answers.
Focused on those principles.
I think my hat pretty much sums it all up, though. My point I'm trying to make: one nation under God. And like Rudy said, you might look at God differently than I. Mine has a son named Christ Jesus, who sacrificed it all to give us a path to salvation through him. But
and I think it's good to say that we are a nation of Christians, We can say that definitively, that we are a nation of Christians and we're founded on Judeo-Christian ideals. At the same time, we are a melting pot of a number of nations that have
Yeah.
all come together from different walks of life, from different ways of looking at things. And we respect all, the way that you believe in whatever higher power that may be, and whomever they are. But it is true and it is a fact that we were founded on Judeo-Christian morals and the Judeo-Christian ideals, and we should accept everybody, regardless
As
of who they are.
as a retired Army major, you and I, you are. I'm not. I'm no major. Hats off to salute. But the fact that we took an oath to protect the Constitution of the United States of America, and in the Constitution, it's quite clear how we were founded and on what principles we were founded. That to me, in my mind, makes us a Christian nation where all faiths are welcome. But this was founded on Christian principles.
Well,
Now,
I think
Mitt-
I think it's
distinction.
I think the most important part of our Constitution is the very beginning in the preamble, where it says "We the people."
the people, yeah,
And that's the problem that we have a problem with, is that people forget that it's we the people, and it takes we to go out and vote, to take our two responsibilities as citizens seriously. And we only have two responsibilities as citizens, and that's one for jury duty, which everybody tries to get out of no matter what, and the
Not
second
me.
is
not me either.
the second is to vote, is to get out and vote. And if you just, when you walk around, and this happens in my campaign, I always ask people, did you vote in the primary? And they look at me quizzically and they go, there was a primary?
They don't
And
even
I'm
know
like,
what that is.
right. And they said, well, it doesn't make a difference. And they don't understand what the primary is and how their vote makes a difference, and how that we have a jungle primary. Thank you, Republicans, for bringing that to us. We shouldn't have that jungle primary,
No,
but
we should not.
no, but it was thank the Republicans. They're the ones who brought it up,
I know.
because they were trying to.
That was Arnold Schwarzenegger trying to pass through something that he wanted.
Yeah, that
Um,
full Republican.
So,
Um,
yeah, well, kinda.
He said he quote unquote said, "Screw your freedom."
Yes, he
Seriously?
did. Yes, he did. That's why I have a problem with him and people like him in the party. Mitch, what's your thought about the Republican Party trying so hard to get part of our platform is recognizing only marriage between a man and a woman, and the other one is we're completely pro-life. They have worked so hard at the top to try and get those things removed from our platform, haven't they, Mitch?
They have. I'll give you an encouraging message on this one. Is in California at the last year's convention. I'm going to back up before that. When I first got involved 3-4 years ago, the actual solid Christian conservative influence in the California Republican Party was probably somewhere between 10 and 20%. And there was no way we seemed to be able to get anything done.
That's dismal.
But then by the time we got to the convention where we were voting on the California Republican Party platform, where they were trying to remove those things, we were actually able to beat their attempt to remove biblical marriage and to remove our support of life from the platform. And so that was supposed to be their impetus to moving forward with doing it at the nationwide level. And I've been really discouraged recently after the convention. There were some great things that have happened. I've been encouraged. I was really built up by some of the neat things that were happening. I mean, Trump surviving an assassination attempt and seeing God's hand moving on things over the last few years has been very encouraging. But then they went and watered down our platform at the national convention. And even Harmeet Dillon had a prayer to this genderless God who she called in her prayer, while most of the audience was bowing their head, she called him the one true God. And I was like, oh my goodness, she's praying to a Hindu god, a genderless Hindu god, and calling him the one true God in front of convention, right after we were having all these really great victories. And it was really kind of discouraging to see. And I think there's a struggle going on. I think there's a struggle going on in the party as to whether or not they're going, because there's a big unity push. And I understand the unity push. We have to win. We have to win. I understand the unity push. We have to win. But God Almighty, who sits in heaven, does not look favorably on us watering down our party platform to remove our support of defending life and biblical marriage. He does not look favorably on that. He does not look favorably at all on us praying to another God and calling that other God a one true God at our state convention. So I have concerns. At the same time, I'm seeing good things happen. But oh my goodness, I can't believe that they've watered down our national Republican Party platform to not address those matters in a biblical way.
As a matter of fact, they're inviting it in as quickly as possible. One of the guest speakers at the Republican National Convention was Amber Rose. Do you know who she is? Her
Yes, I do.
Her previous claim to fame was screwing Kanye West, and that's about it. She claims to be an atheist, but she's also now recently said she sympathizes and empathizes with Satanists, Satan worshipers, and how they have great ideas and they're this and they're that. She was a guest speaker at the convention.
But at the same time, Charlie, don't forget all of the disciples of Christ came from different walks of life and had different pasts. Now, if this is her pathway to redemption, then it's her pathway to redemption. Maybe by participating more with people who have like ideas, who have similar thoughts as you and I, that will help to redeem her. But her walk with Christ and her walk with doing that is her walk. And if that walk is what's going to help people turn around and say, hey, maybe we need to look at the Republican Party. Maybe this is where we need to be. Then that's how God chooses to work through her. But just remember, all of our disciples started out in some questionable way of life, whether they had problems with gambling, drinking, they were a tax collector, they were cruel people, whatever it may be.
They weren't Satan worshipers.
They weren't Satan worshipers.
Right. But my point being is that they turned over. They turned over.
They did.
They brought more people with them. Now
they did, but they weren't brought into the force into the spotlight on the stage in their life when they were fighting against Christ, except for Paul, of course, who was first Saul, and then
but that was just so we could see his transition. That's the only reason that was brought into the light.
Right.
Yeah.
It made me sad, and it actually disturbed me. That wasn't the only thing I saw at the convention that disturbed me, but
hey, you know what? If we could look, Russell Brand has come out to be a Christian, and isn't
that awesome? I know. I love that guy.
He's converted over to Catholicism. He has turned over a new leaf, so far as he says, and the proof is in the pudding in what he actually does. And if we can get mainstream people like Russell Brand, like Amber Rose, like UFC fighters, that are coming
Dana
out.
White. I know that was actually quite a cool speech.
Right. That are coming out openly and supporting us. Those are the wins that we need. And we're talking about how do we turn over the party? I mean, when you watch the convention, California stepped up with 160 plus delegates, more than any other state in the union. And then when we say that, so where California goes, so goes the country, that's part of the reason why it goes that way, is because we have that many delegates on both parties. What doesn't make a difference if you're a Democrat or a Republican. the way that our delegates vote and those that are appointed to the state party, the ones that that are appointed from the state party that go to those conventions, that's how things happen.
Yeah, but also I think you need to draw lines in the sand, and that's what's always separated us:
Yes.
the wheat from the chaff, the sheep from the goats. Uh, and when you start incorporating it, and well, we've got to do this to get more people on board, and well, we've got to do this to win some elections. That's how Jessica Patterson talks. That's how the California Republican Party talks right now. We got to let everybody in, and no matter what we actually think about it, even if it goes against our party platform. Oh, it does? Okay, well, we'll just change our platform. That makes you one big frickin' uniparty.
True.
I call it the Hegelian. Well, I don't call it that. It is the Hegelian dialectic. We are slowly over time. We have a high standard, and you come in with a lower standard, and they fight, and you end up compromising in the middle. And then what you do is you come in with another lower standard, and you fight, and you compromise in the middle. And you come in with another lower standard.
And it just keeps going lower and lower and lower.
And so what we've done is now the Democrat Party, who used to be a very patriotic party, to some extent anyway. Well, I don't know. I have my opinions about the Democrat Party from its inception, but it wasn't as bad as it is now. And the Hegelian dialectic, using that procedure, they have moved more and more left to now where they're almost flat out communists. And they've done the same thing in the Republican Party, where they've taken us from a solid conservative Christian type of worldview, and slowly over time they've moved us left. And now we're becoming, with this new platform, the new who we are as the Republican Party, we're almost becoming the old Democrat Party. And so now what's right of us? There's nothing right of us. It's it. And so the Christians, I was talking to somebody the other day, and when they watched the RNC convention, a solid Bible-believing Christian, a voter, a patriot, somebody who's very involved, and they told me that this was it. They deregistered as a Republican because of what happened at the convention. And I don't know, I don't know if they understand what's at stake, or maybe they do, because what's at stake is our integrity. And we got to be really careful with that as we move forward. We don't want to win at all costs.
I agree.
Yeah,
I fully agree. That's kind of the point I'm trying to make. Exactly. But there has to be that line in the sand. Otherwise, what's the difference? The uniparty is dominant in everything. You have an R in front of your name. You have a D in front of your name. Doesn't seem to matter. It's the same wicked wing flying the same bird right into a city bus.
But I mean, realistically, though, if you think about it, that's what President Trump said after his assassination, immediately after his assassination, was fight, fight, fight. And that's the problem that we have, is that people are not fighting within the party. They're just leaving the party. We need to have people in the party that are willing to fight. I was asked the other day by a mutual friend of ours, Katrina. You know, she asked me, so why do you bank so much on the GOP when the GOP doesn't do anything for you? And it's because they don't do anything for me is why I'm fighting for it. Otherwise, the party is just going to just dissolve on its own, and it's going to become a uniparty. We have to fight for it. And that's why Mitch is doing what he's doing with the associate delegates. And that's why I'm doing what I'm doing by running for Congress. And that's why I asked you to become a delegate. We have to fight. And it's we, the people. It's we, the Republicans. And I get tired of hearing people talk about the Christians in the Republican Party, or when they talk about the CRA, that they are the Christians of the Republican Party. Well, we all have our walk with God, and that walk with God and Jesus Christ is a personal thing. We need to make sure that whatever moralities that we've developed are the right things, and that we, the people, fight. We fight for our party. We fight for our state.
It brings it back to the fact that it's really about our individual responsibility to take part in this fight, to be salt and light, to get involved, not just to vote, but to help make a difference with what's going on within the party, within our communities, within our state.
Yeah, Rudy, I will take exception with one thing you said. It's you said that it's a personal thing, and my walk with the Lord, of course, is a personal thing. But my sharing Him with the world is not personal. That's
No,
a command.
no,
That's
no.
a command. I'm not
Exactly.
supposed to hide, like Mitch referred to the
Right.
scripture about Jesus Himself said, "Do not hide that light under a basket in the
Correct.
room, in the back room, but instead let all see it."
Right.
And I think that too many of us in the Republican Party are ashamed or afraid of being doxxed or pointed at or called names. Oh, you're just a white Christian nationalist, or all the other stupid things that they say and they throw at us because I'm taking a stand for the Lord and for my country. That
Exactly.
these are the same people who hate me because they call me MAGA. Do you know what MAGA means? Make America Great Again. What part of that are you not for?
And Bill Clinton was the first one to actually make that statement, believe it or not.
He did.
You know, he was the first one who made that statement. And yes, you are absolutely correct. We are
He's the
supposed
first
to,
one that said "Make America Great Again." Yes.
yeah, and you're absolutely correct that we're supposed to shout it from the mountaintops, our Christianity. You know that we need to do that, but we're supposed to preach the word, bring others to Christ. And sometimes what I feel is that by saying that the Christians, when we use that terminology, the Christians, then if you are not the Christians,
Yeah.
then what are you?
We exclude them.
We're excluding everybody else. And our job is to bring people to Christ and to espouse what those morals are,
That's a
those
great
things that we
point.
believe in. And
Yeah.
whenever you start saying the whatever, I mean, it's just like when they say the blacks or the Asians, then what are you referring to everybody else as? You know, you're not the whatever. So we need to bring, and that's why it's so important that we, the people, come together. We, the people, are the ones that make a difference. I don't, believe in what you want to believe in, but do you believe in the right to life? Do you believe in freedom of speech? Do you believe in the First Amendment? And that's why we swear our oaths when we're in public service to the Constitution and not to the president. We're swearing our oaths to what that ideal is and how do we protect those ideals. Those first 10 amendments are so important. But without the first and without the second protecting the first, the rest of them don't matter.
Yeah, you made me realize something, Rudy, today, is that we don't need to yes, we need to preach the gospel. But as far as our governmental system goes, a lot of us get caught up in the fact that it's a Christian nation. And so we want to make everything Christian about it. And then the people that don't consider themselves Christians feel excluded. And so what we really are doing, until Christ comes and establishes his kingdom, we are not going to have a real Christian nation on the earth.
No.
We might be a good approximation of what that might look like in a man-made manner, but as far as what Christ is bringing, it's going to be way different. And so while we're here, what can we do as Christians to bring about goodness in our society? And I think you alluded to that real clearly. Is, do you care about freedom of speech? Do you care about the right to life? Do we care about principles that are actually biblical in nature? And can we agree on those with people who aren't biblical?
Mm-hmm. Well,
and that helps us move forward and move maybe our society in a good way, not necessarily converting everybody to Christianity along the way, because not everybody's gonna.
Right. Well, the thing
I'm
is
not
that
interested in it, just real quick, not interested in it being a Christian nation per se, where God's permeated throughout the whole nation. I mean, that is going to happen because God's will be done on earth as it is in heaven. That is going to happen.
Yes.
But in the meantime, I am going to stand firm and know you're not taking the Father, the Creator, the one who blessed us with this nation, unlike any in the history of the world, where we, the people, have at least one vote and one say. I am going to try and wake up my own fellow believers to do their responsibility and take it seriously, that they actually show up to vote. Start by actually getting registered to vote. Registertovote.ca.gov, registertovote.ca.gov.
Not
Start
hard.
there.
Or you can get a hold of me at rudy4foruscongress.com, and I'll come out and I'll bring you the forms. I don't care what county you're in, but you can go to rudy4uscongress.com com, and you can, just get hold of me. I will help you with that. We'll set up a voter registration booth. I've got people that were doing these types of things. And I recently was contacted by one of my constituents asking me to help some Latinos turn over. They wanted to vote Republican for the first time. So, and we are a country that was founded by Christians, a country that was definitively founded by Christians. But if you say Judeo-Christian values, one time I was saying a prayer and I said, in Jesus' name. Afterwards, I had some people come up to me and say, I believed in everything that you prayed about up until that point where you say, in Jesus' name. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. All right. But again, we're a nation that was founded by Christians, that ensures the freedom of religion. And that if you say Judeo-Christian values, you have to include everybody, regardless of who they are, because Jesus accepted everybody. He brought in everybody. He was with the beggars and the prostitutes and everybody that, quote unquote, were unseeming people in the world, and talk to them.
Yeah, but he did that not to hang out with them because they were so fun and to party with them.
No, you're absolutely correct. You're absolutely correct. I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just trying to say that we have to be. I recommend that, and it's just Rudy's opinion, that we just need to be mindful of those people. And when we say things like we believe in Judeo-Christian values, and then say that we're a nation founded by Christians, well, what have you done to the Judeo part of the Christian values? When in your own statement, you're being a hypocrite just to yourself, because you're saying that we're a nation of Christians. Well, you just excluded all the Jews. You just excluded all the Muslims. You just excluded all of those people. Fine, let them believe the way they are, okay? But my point being is that we are a nation founded by Christians.
I don't think that's true. If I went to India and would they not do their prayers because, well, I'm a Christian and they want to show that respect and make me feel welcome in their nation? No, it was founded on Hindu values. That's the nation of India. There are many other examples like that.
And what you just said, it was founded on Hindu values. We were founded on Christian principles. Right. We are a nation of Christians that has Christians in it. Okay. But we are not.
Because I say in Christ Jesus at the end of my prayer, that's on you if you choose not to amen that. But I'm not going to stop. I'm not going to stop saying that.
No, I get it. No, I get it. I'm just expressing that when I did that, there were certain people that were within.
Oh, I know. I've had the same thing happen to me.
Yeah, and all I'm saying is that we want to win this thing, and we want to say, if we want to bring in, we want to maintain our morals. We want to maintain where they are, and across all religions, they have the same morals. They have the same morals as we do. I'm not saying that.
No, they don't. No.
What I'm trying to say
is the Quran tells followers of Islam to murder infidels, especially the Jew. The rock is crying out. The tree is crying out. Here's another one. Come kill them. That's in their Bible. No. We don't have the same values.
But a lot of the books of the Bible are also in the Quran. If you take a look at the Quran, a lot of the books of the Bible are in there. And so those Christian morals, those values that we have, the idea of believing in family is an important thing. I mean, that's the same thing across all religions, that, family is important and believing in that higher power is important. What I'm trying to express is that if we want to make sure that we win this thing.
I don't know if we have the same family values. Again, back to Islam with the mercy killing of any daughter that dares to date an infidel or whatever, dad can kill her. Yeah. So I don't share values with them. I don't even worship the same Lord, the same creator. Mine has a son named Christ Jesus, who said no one comes to the Father except through him. That's that. Now, if everyone else wants to continue in their faith, absolutely. And do you have a table here in deciding what we go? Do you have a vote? Absolutely. That's the way our Constitution was designed. But I don't share a lot of values with them. And I don't like seeing my own California Republican Party being so completely compromised that they're turning their backs on all the things that always made the Republican Party different, set apart. Mitch, what are your thoughts on that?
I'm a non-compromiser. So I have a really hard time with all the compromise within our party, within our nation. But that's because I recognize that the only way to having true freedom is in Christ. So when we're trying to be gracious to these people that believe something different than what I and you believe, I understand trying to be gracious to people and welcome them so that we can share the gospel, so that they can come to know Christ. But I'm a non-compromiser. I'm a guy who says, if they don't extol Christ as Jesus, as the Savior, the only Son of God, then they're lost, because that's what the Bible teaches. So if they're lost, well, they're not regenerate. And so maybe they'll have some certain morals that seem similar to ours, but their morals are moving. Their morals don't have a firm foundation. And so while at the same time, I understand we need to welcome them because we want to be able to influence them, what's happening a lot right now in our nation, and honestly, it really, really concerns me, is we are willing to compromise to get votes so that we can win, so we can install Trump as a president. And do I want Trump in? Oh, yes, 100%. Let's do everything we can to get him in, except compromise.
Well, but we started out this whole podcast. The premise of this podcast is, how do we save our party? How do we save it here
Yep,
in the
you're
state
right.
of California? Okay,
Yeah.
You're right.
that's what
Yep,
we're talking
you're
about.
right.
All right. Now, we all have our personal moralities, and that's what morality is. It's our personal thing to each of us. But we're talking about now, how do we transcend those moralities into our Republican Party ethics? Because ethics is how the party functions. How do we get those people to the table? How do we bring them in so that way they can say, "Hey, I believe in, marriage. I believe in, that life is important, and that those type of things that fit on our platform should remain there." I think one of the reasons why we won that whole fight that we had 2 conventions ago regarding the party platform is because Harmeet Dillon stood up on the floor. She stood on the floor and opposed changing it. She stood on the floor and opposed changing it. We're talking about the ethics of the Republican Party. You can have your own morality. You can think about, believe the way you want to believe. But we started this podcast out because we want to save the Republican Party. And by saving the Republican Party and getting people to come to our way of thinking, our conservative way of thinking, that we can then hopefully change the nation. Because if California goes purple and then goes red, just think about what the rest of the nation's going to do.
Oh my goodness, what an amazing thing that'd be. Yeah, Mitch.
Yeah, I was just going to say I think that's part of why I'm so excited about helping John Paul White with the associate delegate program.
Me too.
Is because it gives us an opportunity. Yes, it's not getting the delegates. There's a whole nother operation for getting the delegates to show up and vote. There's other people dealing with that stuff and appointing good delegates. There's a whole nother group making sure that stuff is going to take place in a more robust fashion this time around, as we come into this January when they get to appoint them. That's the delegates. The associate delegates is our opportunity to really affect the future of the Republican Party. As we bring in the grassroots, they'll become the next people to become a delegate or become a central committee member. And so that gives us the opportunity, me and John Paul White specifically, as we're doing this effort, to go out and recruit grassroots Christian conservatives to get involved. And so when I brought up the Hegelian dialectic, usually the way it works in our societies, it goes from high, they fight low and bring us down, and fight low and bring us down. The alternative to that is we have to hold a very high moral standard. And then they have to fight with us, and it will bring it back up. And so the way we get there is we have to bring in Bible-believing Christians into the party to uphold our Christian values. Does
Because
that
in
mean
many
that,
ways, I think that might be why a lot of the Christians aren't even registered to vote and aren't voting.
yeah, I
Yeah,
agree. I
I'm
agree.
telling you, if there's anything that drives me out of my own home state of California, it's the fact that they've changed all the laws and including amending the California Constitution to make all forms of abortion legal and unquestionable. And my tax dollars are going to that. If I
Yeah,
leave California, it's not all the other stuff aside, all the other trash and crap that's going on in this Democrat controlled, once great state of California, once golden state, it's going to be that
yeah, that
because
you
I
won't
don't
be
want
money
my
to
tax dollars going to that. However, my tax dollars go to a lot of things I probably disagree with on a national scale too. But this is where we live. This is what we have to do. And we have to pay Caesar what is due Caesar, right? Even if it's completely too much and they're taking it out and they're getting total domination and control from our tax dollars. That's
right.
another argument, another show. But I appreciate, first of all, Rudy, you so much because we differ on some things, some pretty important, crucial things, but yet you trust me to be your delegate because you know my heart and you know that I do what I say I'm going to do. My yes means yes, my no means no, and I take responsibility seriously of being there to vote in person every single time, even if I get voted against every single time. So I appreciate you, Rudy4USCongress.com. That's the word FOR, Rudy4USCongress.com. Help him. We need him and people like him in Northern California here. Mitch, where you are down there in SoCal, please keep fighting the good fight. How do we get involved with the associate delegates? How do we learn more? And you're going on tour. I want to show up at one of these things.
Yeah, we're going on tour. So the easiest way to find out how to get involved is to go to CRPAssociateDelegates.com. CRP, California Republican Party, CRP Associate Delegates with an S
with
at
an
the
S
end,
on the end.
.com. And that's how you find us. That's how you get involved. We're really looking for opportunities to come into different counties. We want to find big events that we can come and take a part of and tell people about what we're doing. And then while we're on our way there and on our way back, we're going to try to find as many stops as we can to small groups. We're trying to spread the word to get people involved so we can take back the party for solid grassroots conservative Christian values.
And if you're thinking, well, we don't want the whole party to be Christian, we've all been all but kicked out. All I want is a spot at the table so we have a voice for the Lord.
Yeah. Yes.
So, no, I don't want to make the whole complete state. That's going to happen. Again, Jesus said it's going to. When he taught us how to pray, the apostles asked, how should we pray?
I'm not trying to make it Christian. Yeah, I'm not trying to make it Christian. I don't want everybody to follow what I say.
No.
What I want is good morals and a good foundation and a good party. And the Christian values align with that. That's what it's about.
Anybody who claims to be a follower of any higher power and aligns themselves with the Democrat Party, which is the party of death, the death of family, the death of children, the death of morality, it's the party of death. And I don't care what faith you are, and you're voting for that train wreck, you, I believe, are going to be held responsible. You become complicit. You become a part of it or even worse, my own fellow Christians who don't even bother to vote at all. And if you say it's because, well, my vote doesn't count anyway, so what does it matter? It does in local elections. And as I have on this sign back here, and General Michael Flynn said it, local action equals national impact. We've got to be voting in these midterm elections. We got to be voting in these primary elections. They mail the dad blame thing to you in California now. There's no excuse.
Yep.
That's right.
Yep. You got to get out there and vote.
Overwhelm the polls.
Exactly.
We have to win no matter what.
Exactly. It really is that simple, isn't it?
Yep. Register now. If you're not registered, register now.
Please.
We can do this. We can fix what's broken. But it takes the people to wake up and do it.
You two are great. Thank you so much for being on the show. I'm sorry we couldn't get John Paul White into the mix because he's a character, man. I was really looking forward to him being a part of this discussion. But next time, we'll try it again, see if we can get him somewhere where they actually have decent Wi-Fi.
All right.
Okay. I am Charlie Simons. This is Do Not Talk. You can help this show grow by buying American-made products, mypillow.com/Lee. My middle name. Thank you, Mike Lindell, for making that happen, letting me be an affiliate. mypillow.com/Lee. That name, Lee, can get you up to 75% off some products. All American made, mypillow.com/Lee. I hope you got something out of this. I hope you did. I hope if you're discouraged, I'm sorry. If you're encouraged, I think that's the right way to be. It's encouraged. May God bless you and keep you. May God bless America. Most importantly, though, America bless God.